on a progressive platform. Today we're joined by Joaquín Vázquez, who's running for California's 50th district. Joaquín, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
Appreciate it. This is your second time here on our program, is my understanding. You spoke with Adam last time. Can you tell us a little bit? You ran for Congress, when people really needed progressives to step up. Can you tell us a little bit about how that's been from there to now?
Yeah. So last time I was working in Washington, D.C., I was doing a lot of work on the immigrant rights community when the Trump administration had launched their MPP program, right? So the Remain in Mexico policies and their activity with separating families, right? So that off the bat was giving me flashbacks. My family was separated when I was a kid. That led to my dad's deportation, and that also led to our eviction in our apartment, right? And the third of seven brothers, and so that left my mom and myself homeless, my brothers, right? And it was a really hard time. So it's just seeing how things were happening, and that a lot of Democrats weren't standing up for our immigrant rights community, right? Our migrant communities. I took it on myself to say, hey, you know what? If back then Rep. Susan Davis wasn't doing enough and was waiting for the community to actually really push her and have an impact on her political legacy, that to me was not acceptable. So I decided to run, and it's not much different than right now, but we can go a little bit more on that as well. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back on the stomping grounds, talking to people, listening to what they are, what their needs are, looking to see what our elected officials are not doing right now. There's a lot that I know, but there's a lot that I don't know. If I don't get the opportunity to just speak to people, right, whether if it's in mediums like this, speaking to people across the country or in the district.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I appreciate you, being on our program to help spread your message, because your platform is definitely very progressive, and it's everything that we want the nation to look like. And moreover, to your story, seems like what's in dire need in California, but California being such a Democrat-heavy state, I sympathize. Also, I'm from Illinois. It's a somewhat similar situation, but. I understand that because of redistricting, you're running against a 10-year incumbent that is not in favor of Medicare for all. And a lot of these policy platforms that you're advocating for.
Right. So it's kind of big, right? San Diego is known for or as the conservative South, and a lot of it has not changed. We have politicians that are kind of picking up on the fact that Bernie, for example, won the last two times, a major part of San Diego. And the times that he ran for president, right? And they are looking at the progressive wave as something that they can piggyback on messaging, but not really act upon those, right? And so we've had almost all of our congressional delegation do the same. We have Juan Vargas right now, who just now bought that progressive congressional caucus insurance policy, right? He just joined, and he's been a part of the Blue Dog Coalition. He's been a part of the New Dem Coalition, right? That has been fighting progressives, right? Everyone on the left to ensure that Pelosi really gets her way, right? And that corporate America gets its way, right? And for those of us on the ground, we know what's going on. We've seen Juan Vargas we've seen the money, right? Following the money and seeing how Juan Vargas has been taking in the past also money from private prison companies, right? Those prison companies are the ones running our private detention centers, right? The migrant detention centers, right? And those are, some of the slimiest sort of type of executives, right? That are really pushing not only back then the Trump administration, but Congress also until this day to continue to have this disgraceful, inhumane immigration system of laws that we have right now, right? So once, while we have politicians like that, we're never going to be able to get to a DREAM Act. We're never going to be able to get to a full pathway to citizenship, right? We're never going to get to a comprehensive bill of immigration reform that's progressive, that's humane. And to me, that speaks volumes. People can start, the politicians, electeds can start tweeting. They can start telling us that they support Medicare for all, like Juan Vargas, or Green New Deal, like he's doing as well. But he's not doing anything. He's standing in the way. In fact, in his almost 10 years, he hasn't introduced almost any bill. He hasn't been introducing bills in the last several terms that he's been serving, but he prides himself on co-sponsoring bills. We don't need something like that. We live in ground zero for the migrant crisis. We live in ground zero also for things like the environment that are being heavily impacted because of industry, right? So all of those issues are things that we need somebody to start really pushing the needle, not just lip service, right? And we need somebody that actually has the cojones, like we say, to push these policies forward, to say no to corporate money, and to have their own gut, to have their own mind, and say, hey, you know what? We need to do the right thing, and the right thing is standing up for the people. We need to put people over profits. That's what we're about.
And I appreciate you being a candidate that still highlights getting money out of politics, but exactly that phrase here, putting people over profits and overturning Citizens United. More specifically speaking to policy, it's been our experience here that it's usually these kind of industries, these prison industries, the kind of predatory industries that prey on the kind of migrant work and processes of people that benefit the most in America, and it tends to be the masses of people that are made of the business that need the most uplifting, need the championing. So thank you again for running. What is your strategy to overcome these corporate entities that are obviously empowering your opponent, who wants to play lip service, who's not going to buck against the people that line his pockets? How can you highlight that to his voters? How can you highlight your message? How can people at home get involved?
When it comes to highlighting the issues, I think given that our district right now turned from formerly, or the district that he used to represent versus the one that he's running for right now, the one we're running for is went from 42% Democrat to 41% Democrat, 62% Democrat. And so we have a huge advantage on not only Republicans, but more moderate and conservative Democrats like Juan Vargas, right? And that also means that there's a lot of more youth that are involved. We have the youth really running very successful campaigns of their own, fighting for local issues, whether if it's fighting the climate crisis, as far as taking care of our green areas, to rent control, right? Fighting for universal rent control, fighting for expanded and hopefully free public transportation. All of those issues are things that the people are very well aware in this district. So it's not taking too much to try to convince them to support what we're fighting for, but more so, right, we're spreading the message, right, through these channels, through on the ground, where we have phone banking, we have text banking coming up, also being set up. We've been making calls already to constituents. What we hear a lot is that things haven't changed. And I say this often, but it's really because what I hear from people, things haven't changed. There's been at least 20 years of the last 20 years of representation under a Democrat, conservative Democrat that could easily be a Republican. Mm-hmm. And things continue to be the same. People are getting priced out of San Diego. It's sad. It's disheartening to see how many people, how many San Diegans have to leave a place that they've called their home for so long. So people are ready for new representation. People are tired to be given the same old person all the time to vote every election right before. So they're ready. So really, it just comes down to hitting the ground, knocking on those doors, talking to more people, and spreading the message, and really not really falling into the games of the establishment, right? That they try to at times, and across the country, candidates have seen how they try to sort of misguide them, right? And so for us, is really running a very bold, community-centered, working class-centered campaign, and that's the message right there.
Awesome. Well, Joaquin, we've seen great things happen when congressional infrastructure can attach itself to those local community issues. So we're wishing you the best of luck. We'll be on the lookout for you, and you definitely have our support here at TCSN.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Happy
again.
to be here. Check out my website. My website is just JoaquínVázquez.com. Joaquinvazquez.com, running for Congress in California's new 52nd Congressional District. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you.